Good morning, Rainmakers, and it's Priyan here from Rainway Reality with another episode discussing the title, The Energy Code, Staying in Flow, Focus and Peak Performance. In this episode, we dive into the essentials of maintaining optimal energy levels, staying focused and being in flow state. Learn how the fundamentals of habits like sleep, hydration, balanced nutrition, and mindfulness impact not only your physical but also mental performance. We'll carry out science and practical strategies in order to avoid energy crashes, understanding the relationships between food, mood, and performance, and building sustainable, long lasting routines for vitality. So let's get into it. And let me start off by saying the reason for this podcast today is because I today woke up and was feeling great. Not really great, what I'm saying. I didn't feel as great as I felt great in terms of woke up at 5 a.m. But I had only had 5.5 hours sleep. But I felt great in terms of the fact I'd done my journaling, carried out my strength routine, and also listened to a fantastic podcast. Today, I took my son into school because of the fact that he had a fun charity run to do. So he asked me to come, begged me to come, actually. I wasn't really into it, but he was like, Dad, this track's really long. It's really big, so you better be warned about this. So we got there, ran around the track. He ran around like a mad hatter. I tried to keep up with him, of course. Can't believe 400 meters I was out of breath. And he was like, oh, can we carry on, Dad, do another round? I was like, no, you carry on, I'll film you. But just shows me how unfit I am and need to prioritize getting back into the gym in order to increase my stamina and keep up with my son. But one of the main reasons I give that story is that then when I came home after dropping him, my energy levels just dropped. I was feeling awful in the car. Mainly, of course, number one, I'd done an activity which I wouldn't normally do in the morning. Number two was that I'd had only 6 hours sleep. Normally I have 7.5. And number three was also the fact that I have my mum and sister are down. So I was working in the morning, went to meet them at Dubai Mall, had lunch with them, dim sum, fantastic meal. And then once the evening came along, I wasn't feeling very hungry. So I thought to myself that I'd just have a small snack on what was left over. Ultimately, what happened was, of course, that I hadn't eaten enough protein in order for my body to repair itself in the night while I was sleeping. With the lack of sleep and the extra curriculative activity, I then crashed and felt awful. I quickly had a protein drink when I came home, drank some water, and did a breath work for 35 minutes. And then I basically picked up and recovered. And hence why I'm here now with full of energy and enthusiasm. But that's why the podcast is a little late. So, what are we going to take from this? Sleep is the foundation of energy. It is the most important thing that you should do in life. Regardless of anything else, you need to sleep and prioritize sleep for physical and mental recovery. It's like, for example, having a machine running 24/7. If you don't give it a rest or it's not actually made to run that long without resting, then it will just deteriorate. It won't function as well. It will not perform as well. You may think it is, but it's not performing to its peak. How do I get these insights? I actually monitor my sleep with a tracker called Whoop. If you haven't got one, get one. It is fantastic. I used to be quite, this is it on my hand. I've got a battery on it now. I've taken it off. Great straps and stuff. I'm not endorsing it, by the way, in terms of I don't get any money or I haven't got a link to give you. Maybe in the future one day. But what it does for me, it just shows me what originally I was really obsessed with it. But then, of course, the novelty wore off, and I thought I'd get rid of it. But ultimately, I kept it for the reason that even without needing to look at it all the time, it tracks my sleep. I can see when I'm sleeping, how well I'm sleeping. It tracks my drinking. It tracks my steps. So it just gives me somebody who's just giving me an overall performance of how I'm feeling and what I'm doing without actually having to do anything. So it's a fantastic tool. Tips for sleeping, for example, you need to set a routine to sleep. So if you're going to go to bed and have 7 hours sleep, you need to go to bed at 10 in order to wake up at 5. If you keep a routine, what happens is the body knows that it's going to sleep. I think what it's called is it starts to release a special chemical. I forgot the name right now. Not endorphins. It is, let me see what it is, Rainmakers. Codamine, no. I will look that up and let you know. So it releases these chemicals in order to serotonin, I think it is. But anyway, I'll check. So when that's released, that tells your body to fall asleep or get ready for sleep. So hence, you shouldn't be watching bright lights before you go to bed. You should actually dim down all your lights and not look at blue light. And that then tells your body and your mind that the sun has set and that you are going to bed. Ultimately, I always say to people with regards to health and sleep and hydration, if you look at how the cavemen lived, it would be how you should replicate your life, i.e. eating clean, fish, vegetables, meat, eating in daylight hours, due to the fact that they couldn't set fires and stuff during the night because then they'd get eaten by predators and stuff. And also they had to be still and camouflaged. And then waking up at the crack of dawn again in order to make sure that they didn't get killed by other predators who weren't night owls but worked during the day. So if you ever think about, shall I do this, and you think back to what cavemen did, that would be most probably your answer. Hydration. Why is water so critically important? The body and the brain is mostly consistent of water. A small drop in your hydration or your water levels makes you inefficient in terms of thinking, performance in terms of sports. And hydration doesn't mean that you drink when you feel thirsty, because you're already dehydrated then. So the rule of thumb normally is about 2 liters a day. And I try to I have a special bottle, which I don't have on me now, unfortunately, which basically tells me to drink at every hour. So 11 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I drink a glass of water. Or from this bottle, I drink up to that level. Again, I don't have the bottle to hand. Even if I did, there's no link ultimately until maybe next time. But if I don't have the bottle with me, then all I do is that every time I look at my time or I'm working and I see it's 11 or 12, I know that I have to drink a glass of water. If it's 11:15 and I've gone past my time, I then still drink a glass of water because I knew I missed it at 11 o'clock. So very easy to follow. And then again, you don't have to think about it. There's no sort of, I've got to set a time for it. Just see the time. You know when things are happening. 12 o'clock meeting, water. 2 o'clock lunch, water. Going home at 5 o'clock, water. Going to the gym at 6 o'clock, water. Because everything works around the clock. So therefore, you've got no excuse for not having the water when you want to drink it. Water is also available in teas, coffees, drinks. But ultimately, of course, water, pure water is the best. If you did not, other than the sleep, have to do anything to survive, water is the most essential thing that you need. Example, you're in a desert, there is no food, there is no cattle, there are no monster munch, but you have to find water. You can live, I believe, days, months even, and again, I'll look up this factor when I become better at podcasting, to find out how long you can actually live just drinking water. So if that is the case, water is super, super important. Eating, nutrition. the right fuel at the right time for you as well, as in your body, your type. Again, going back to the cavemen, there were hunters and gatherers and some other types of people as well. But ultimately, some people don't have muscles and can't run very fast. So according to their body type, they would eat more carbohydrates or protein. And sometimes overeating protein for a hunter, a gatherer who has to run a lot may not make sense because they need the carbohydrates to fuel them on a different level. Food makes a big difference to your mood. As I said today, my mood flagged due to a change in routine. And food can be bought at shops. Protein is fantastic. Protein bars, got a bit of sugar in, but you can look for the sugar-free ones. Nuts, fruits. So to give you an example, I believe that it has been scientifically proven that if you actually eat an apple in the morning, it will actually give you more energy and more vavavoom, as they say, than an actual cup of coffee. Any comments on that, please let me know. And in the next podcast, I may get back to you with any facts that I have found. Again, society tells you that you need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is not true. Ultimately, you need to eat when you're hungry. I personally do not have breakfast in the morning. My wife asks me all the time, as in, are you going to have some breakfast, in that sort of sarcastic roll in the eyes mood, as in like you should eat. And I say, no, thank you, darling, for asking me. But ultimately, I will only eat when I'm hungry. Now, sometimes you may think that's an inconvenience. My wife does a little bit because of the fact that she likes to have a routine of cooking for my son at a certain time at dinner time. And of course, I'm not hungry. But ultimately, I tell her beforehand, so that has got rid of that problem, and I will fend for myself if necessary. But I eat when I'm hungry. So normally I would eat maybe a snack or something at 11 o'clock, an apple. But most days at the moment, I'm just drinking water and I would just have a lunch. A good lunch meaning protein, carbohydrates, vegetables, and fat. I always try to have a balanced meal so that I know that I'm getting all the essentials that I have. I do have vitamins in the morning. So that is something that I believe I do on a regular basis, and I make sure that the family has the vitamins. I am called the supplement king in our family, and my wife likes me doing it because she feels like I care for her and I look after her, which I do. And it's one of the ways I can show her that I do care and want her to live a long and happy life so that we are together forever. Otherwise, I'd be very lonely. We discussed this point the other day with her. So, that's why I brought it up and I have a little smile on my face. Listen to your body, as I said, adapt into when you need food, and don't just eat food for the sake of eating food, because it does not really help. You'll feel over bloated, you feel sluggish, and think about really when you eat and what you eat, and have an awareness of it. So therefore, like today, this morning, I was aware of what I ate yesterday. I was aware, and I can analyze and think about, yes, this is why I feel like this, as opposed to, oh, I feel like shit, and then not trying to fix it or understand the process of it in order to not let it happen again. Or if it did happen again, how I've managed to recover very quickly. How is this important? This is important because when you're at work and when you are in real estate, number one, you have your routines, but you also got to be on top of your game. You can't go along to a viewing or go along to a meeting or meet a vendor and be down in the dumps. You've got to be able to be there. Now, of course, the other point is that, regardless of how you feel, it's also in your head, because I know through experience that when I need to turn on the magic, I can turn on the magic whether I feel shit or not. Sorry, pardon the language. For example, we went to Aretha last week. We had gone out on a boat party from 3 till 7. My dear friends Nushara and Ramesh invited us for sort of a cabaret night. We said, "Oh, we've already gone out." They said it's at 9:30. Don't be old fogies, come along. So we did. When we were there, I was absolutely knackered, sitting there on the chair. Everybody was dancing, and I was just like down. And my wife came up to us and said, "Oh, come on, you said you can change your mood if you want to, and you can come and go, be the life and soul of the party, and it's all in your head, and you give me grief sometimes." And I said, "Okay, fair enough. I'll show you how it's done." Boom. In an instant, I changed my mood. I was dancing and I was like, having a good time and stuff. And I said to her, "There you go." And she said, "All right, calm down, calm down. I didn't want you to overdo it and steal all the limelight." But ultimately, it just shows you that if you really want to. Now, don't get me wrong. After about half an hour, 45 minutes, I flagged again. And I could have picked myself up again, running on reserves. But ultimately, even though you have your mind and energy levels and you can do whatever you want to do, having the food and the water all there ready for the reserves to be used is better than running on fumes. Going back to your job again, you think you're working hard and you are working hard. And when I used to be an estate agent and work at Foxtons, I used to just have a little bit of a bacon butty sandwich in the morning. Then I used to basically have maybe a sandwich at lunchtime. And normally the hours were from 8 till 8. I used to work until about 10 o'clock at night and eat dinner at 10. So I was fine because I'm running on energy, enthusiasm, but basically my health was deteriorating. I wasn't eating that much, but I still had a little bit of a pot belly, had no real muscles or anything, didn't go to the gym. And of course, in hindsight, I realized that I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't eating a balanced meal. But because of the adrenaline and being young and stuff, I kept on going. So don't do that. You'll just burn yourself out and cause more harm. And plus, also, you're not at your peak performance. So therefore, you need to monitor your food so that therefore that you can use your energy levels, your excitement, your enthusiasm with good nutrition and also good hydration, also with good sleep, in order to make sure that you then perform to your absolute best all the time. Now, ultimately, it's not going to happen that way. But if you set the routines in place, you're aware of what you're eating and drinking, you're aware of your hydration, and you're not skipping meals just for the sake of it, then you will perform to your ultimate level and ultimately as well be happy in terms of what you're doing. So main points to take away: hydration, sleep, and also making sure you have some good physical exercise. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. I will be back soon. And now I will go crash. No, I'm joking. As I said, I feel fantastic now. And especially after this podcast, it's given me some more vigor and energy. I will go say hi to my wife and tell her that she's in another, mentioned in another podcast because she keeps complaining. Take care. Stay cool, rainmakers.